Today we're gonna build x402 from scratch, which is not gonna take long because what's beautiful about x402 is it's very simple, which is a great thing. So x402 is a way. Oh, by the way, you guys like my new mic setup? x402 is a way to do payments on the internet. 402 is a HTTP response code that was unused for a very long time, but we're gonna use it now, and we're gonna try to re-implement, or I actually already did implement a very simple x402 example from scratch, and I wanna walk you guys through that, how it works. So fundamentally, there are three entities in x402. There's a server, there's a client, and we're using Excalibur because we're very, very fancy. There's a client, and there's something called the facilitator, which is actually not that important, and we're gonna see why later. So why x402? Okay, let's say we have an API here called premium data. Very, very valuable stuff, right? And to access that API, you need to pay me 100 USDC to access this. So in the current, tech environment, this would be a hard thing to set up. I don't know, you would do it through Stripe or whatever, and it's slow, and you have to set up an entity and whatever. But we have crypto now, which solves this. So I'm the client, and I'm like, hey man, I want to access this. I want to access premium data. And the server is like, bro, this is just an HTTP, like an empty HTTP request. Where's my money? So the server is like, okay, this actually costs 100 USDC. So it gets the raw HTTP request and it's like, no, bro, this is not enough. I'm gonna give you an error code. I'm gonna give you 402, payment required. Okay, which is pay me. And it's also gonna put in here stuff like, let's go here. I want USDC, I want 100, I want this on base, and so on and so forth. There are different parameters that you can set here as well, which we're gonna look at in a bit. So the client gets that, and it's like, this is a smart client, right? This client has a wallet, has a crypto wallet, a private key, right? So the client gets the 402 and it's like, hey, I actually have 100 USDC. So I'm gonna sign a transaction that basically tells the server, you can spend my USDC. And in the background, it's calling something called transfer with auth on USDC. So actually this would be interesting. Base scan USDC. Let's just look at the contract. This is a proxy contract. So we're gonna do read that proxy. And there's a transfer. There's a special transfer with. Where's my transfer with auth? Oh, it's in right as proxy, of course. Transfer with authorization, which is a specific EIP transfer with auth, EIP 309. And 309 is a great way to, you don't have to do an approve. It's like, I'm gonna sign this, anyone can take that, put it on chain, and the USDC transfer goes through. And I'm nearly out of battery. Okay. So this is transfer with auth. So this is what I sign. It's like I sign something that says, hey, you can call transfer with auth on my USDC balance with 100 USDC. So you call back into the server with the signature. Okay? And the server takes that, and you still didn't access the premium data. The server takes that, it's like, hey, maybe the signature is wrong, or it's a fake signature, or it's actually not giving me 100 USDC, it's giving me 50 USDC. So this is where the facilitator comes in. And the facilitator is very simple. It has a /verify and the /settle. And I actually think the verify is unnecessary, but whatever. The verify endpoint takes that signature, verifies it, basically does a simulation on chain. Is like, hey, this transfer actually works. And returns back, oh, this actually works. Nice. And then there's a settle endpoint, which actually takes your signature and puts it on chain. So a very good question would be, why don't we have verify and settle in here? Wouldn't that make sense? Wouldn't that make things easier? And you would be right. But what's nice about the facilitator is it abstracts away gas management, nodes management, private key management. It's basically infra, right? Infrastructure, infra. I don't want to deal with. I have no clue how to use this stuff. Okay, whatever. Infra, I don't want to deal with. Right? So it's like a helper. It's like a helper method or something. You could do a settle and verify in here, right? And there's nothing in the spec that tells you can't do that. But you'll probably call into the facilitator, and there are a lot of companies right now that run their own facilitator. The most popular one is the one from Coinbase. But as I've said, the facilitator has two endpoints, verify and settle. And that's basically it. So once the settle is successful, the facilitator will go back to the server. It's like, nice, success, 200 or whatever. Server would take that, look at it. Hey, this is actually correct. Server goes back to the client with the premium data. And that's x402. So if you want to go into implementation details, have a simple Python setup. Client, facilitator, models, server. Models just types, but types is a used Python keyword, so we have to call it modeled. And we have things in here like the payment requirements response, authorization, exec scheme payload. And this maybe looks a bit complicated, but it's not very easy. Payment requirements is the thing that the server returns back to the client on the empty HTTP request. Remember, the client calls in the server. It's like the client thinks he can just get stuff, which is not true. So the server is like, hey, these are my payment requirements, man. 402. This is my scheme. It has to be exact. This is the network I'm on. This is the amount. This is the asset I want to be paid in. Pay to is where the money is gonna go to. And the payment requirements is inside the payment requirements response, which just sets a x402 version, which is 1 right now. And that's basically it. So then the client is like, oh, let's actually sign things. So there's this exact scheme payload, which goes into the payment payload. So the payment payload is what the client would return to the server after getting a 402. Pay me. And inside the payment payload, we have the exact scheme payload. And exact scheme payload is the thing you're going to look for, which is the signature. And the signature is a signature on these parameters. From address to value, valid after, valid before, nonce. And these are exactly the parameters that you're going to find on the transfer with auth. From to value, valid after, valid before, nonce, and the signature. And then we have other types in here, which like verify request, verify response, which is basically the stuff coming back from the facilitator. These things are typed as well. But that's pretty much it. Maybe also the facilitator, which is interesting, has a discover. Is it called discover? Actually, not 100% sure. Yes, it's called discovery resource, which is basically what kind of payments can the facilitator do. So it's like, hey, I accept payments on the Avalanche network, on the base network, on the base Sepolia network, and so on and so forth. And that's pretty much it. You can look at the implementation here. You have a simple x402 server, very simple, non-production ready, educational only, which gives you like a high-level overview how implementation would look like. Facilitator, same thing. You have verify endpoint, you have a post settle endpoint. If you actually want to look at how Facilitator works or is implemented for like a production-ready thing, there is this great Rust implementation by Sergey, x402 payments. This is a great implementation for the facilitator. So if you look into source, Facilitator RS, you're going to find an interface or a trait. It's called a trait in Rust, but whatever, verify and settle. And then the actual implementation. So yeah, that's pretty much x402 for you. What's interesting in the space right now is there's a lot going on. We're in the process of, or the community is, of defining x402 v2. You can find that spec document inside the x402 Coinbase repo. And I will probably link that in the description down below, which is this document, x402 v2 spec. Some changes to the spec for, to enable new use cases and stuff. There's also a Twitter space that will happen next Thursday. We already did one, which was pretty cool. So if you wanna keep up to date and join the discussion on x402 things, mark your calendar, Thursday, 4 p.m. East Coast time. And that's pretty much it. Thanks for tuning in, guys. See ya.